So of course, take that with a grain of salt. Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Zonia and welcome to another episode of Hot Girl Hygiene. We are now at episode 10 of this series, and this is actually a part 2, a continuation to the previous episode pertaining to building an everything shower routine. In last week's episode, we went over the entire in-shower routine and everything that you need to know to properly create and use strategy in that routine. Today we're going on to part 2, which would be the after shower routine and everything that you would do following that shower routine. If you didn't watch last week's episode, I would highly recommend doing so just to get the full collective routine, as well as the other previous episodes of this series. I feel like there's so much value to be gained from each episode, and they all do work hand in hand with each other, so you can definitely make connections from every part of the series. Today we'll be talking about lots of after shower body care and hygiene, which I do create so much short form content on. I would say that's like my primary content. So per usual, if I do have any short form videos that go hand in hand with what I'm explaining or can give you a better visual, I will play them on screen. For all of my other short form content, I am Zonia on every platform, and I do post on every platform daily. I post these episodes weekly on Thursday. I am running a series through the whole summer, so this being episode 10, there are 8 episodes left. I've almost filled every slot for future episodes. If you do have anything that you want to see in particular, definitely let me know and I may be able to include it in the future episodes. But I do want to go into the full breakdown in this video, give the full overview, and start working our way into the main basis of this video. So as you've all heard me say multiple times before, I'm not one for long intros, so let's get right into this video. So per usual, I do have my iPad to help guide us. I'm breaking this video down in the same way that I broke the last video down, doing 3 main segments and then sections within each of those segments. And for this video, we actually have 14 sections. To do a brief overview and breakdown of those segments and sections, we have segment 1, starting off with section 1 being the proper order of routines, section 2 being gathering and necessary tools. Then moving on to segment 2, we're going to start that off with section 3 being hair care, section 4 being soothing the skin, section 5 being dampening and preparing the skin, section 6 being the first layer of moisture, section 7 being the second layer of moisture, section 8 being sealing your moisturizers. For section 9 we have foot care, for section 10 we have facial, for section 11 we have adding products to our hair, for section 12 we have styling or setting the hair, and for section 13 we have adding deodorant and fragrance. Then lastly, finishing off with segment 3 containing section 14, minor habits with major effects. And in uploading these videos, I do always break my sections down into chapters. So if you do want to skip to a certain section that you think you may gain more value from, or you have a better idea of the section or segment that you're in, definitely utilize the chapters that I've built down below. Now I know how important everything showers are, and I would argue that your routine after the shower is a bit more important because the way that you treat your skin after will either aid and support everything that you did inside of the shower or destroy and diminish everything that you built in the shower. So without further ado, let's get right into this video, starting off in segment 1 and with section 1 being the proper order of routines. Now I do want to keep this section short and simple because every single process or routine within this section will have its own section fully dedicated to going into detail on how to go about that routine, the products to use, and tips to know and remember. So to do a simple and brief overview of the proper order of routines after your shower, you'll start first with wrapping your hair in a towel, following that with soothing the skin, then following that with dampening the skin. Next is going to be your first layer of moisture, followed by your second layer of moisture. Next you're going to seal your moisturizers and add on your robe. The following routine would be foot care, and then the routine after that would be facial care. Your next routine would be adding products to your hair, and you're going to follow that routine with styling or setting your hair. And the final step is going to be adding your deodorant or fragrance. And that's just a simple breakdown of the proper sequence for your routines and knowing the strategy of the proper order. Now before getting into the breakdown of all those routines and all the tips that I have, let's move on to section 2 and talk about gathering your necessary tools. Now you can't have proper body care or hygiene without the proper tools, and I would say that your after shower routine, it does require quite a bit more products in your in shower routine, but there is a place and use for every single one of these products within your after shower routine. And I'm going to list these out in the order that they would be used, so following a guideline per se of the proper order of routines. So one important and critical product is going to be a hair towel. I have 2 different forms. These are both microfiber, just a little bit of a different design and a little bit of a different texture only because of their designs. This is one of my favorite ones because it's white. If you know me or have watched any of my content, I love all things white. This is just a very simple microfiber hair towel. My second favorite one that I also love just as much is this light baby pink one. The texture of this one is a little bit different. It has these little pockets, so it's a bit fluffier, it's a bit thicker in texture. Two other important products are going to be aloe vera gel. You can buy this one or the one without the green dye. The coloring doesn't really change the product itself much. It's just like an aesthetic thing. So if you do have the opportunity to buy the clear one, definitely reach for that one, but if not, this one will serve you just fine. Another key product is going to be witch hazel. I have this in the bottle and in misting form. I'll break this down a little bit more when we go into that section. Next is going to be a misting bottle with just water. Next, you're going to want to have body serums, toners, or essences. I have a few different options that I'm going to use in this video, but of course always choose the one that's going to serve you the best. Next, you're going to want to have an unfragranced skin rebuilding body lotion. You're also going to want to have an unfragranced skin healthy body balm. You're also going to want to have an unfragranced body oil. Another thing that is a little bit optional, but I always recommend, especially if you have watched my vlogs or any of my videos, I have a very big collection of these. Robes are very important. Anything would work fine. A towel robe. I wouldn't recommend a silk robe. Maybe something fluffier, something that's going to be a little bit more absorbent. Next, you're going to want a pumice stone. I have a regular handheld one and one with the handle. You're going to want a hydrating body serum. This one contains urea and amino acids. Of course, you're going to want to have some aquaphor in the same regard as the robe, where it's a little bit optional, but I think a very helping hand. You're going to want to have some socks. A facial oil. I currently love Skin 1004 Centella cleansing oil. You're gonna need a dermaplaning razor. I love Flamingo for these. You're gonna want a facial cleanser. This is my favorite gentle everyday face cleanser. You're gonna want a soothing moisturizer and a skin rebuilding and skin healthy moisturizer. Next, you're gonna want to have any hair products of your choice. Some like those for health or some for styling your hair. Then you're gonna want to have hair styling tools like a blow dryer, straightener, hair comb, or silk products to wrap your hair. Then of course, you're gonna want to have a deodorant, whatever serves your skin the best. And then an Aquaphor or Vaseline balm stick. And as I mentioned, this routine definitely takes quite a bit of products, but of course these all have their own specific use and a value in this routine, and I will break that down in detail as we go over the routines that they pertain to. Now that's everything for segment 1. Let's move on to segment 2, where we're going to break down the actual routines themselves, the products that go into them, the tips that go into them, and the steps. And this is going to be done in the order of use, so the same order that I mentioned earlier, starting off first with section 3 and hair care. So when you're first stepping out of the shower, the first thing you're going to want to do is wrap your hair. As I mentioned, I do have these microfiber hair wraps. I get these all from TJ Maxx or similar department stores like Marshall's. I feel like in those places you'll find the best priced ones that are going to be really durable. I can't count how many times I've used and machine washed and dried these, and they don't change whatsoever. They don't wither out, they don't get hard or dry. They stay soft, fluffy, and they do a good job of helping your hair dry while absorbing the water and products that it needs, rather than you wringing it out or using a texture that will cause any frizz by stripping the hair too much. This is always the very first thing I do out of the shower for that, so I can have the most time to really sit and absorb, but also to keep my hair out of my way, off of my back, off of my shoulders, and really just focus on my body and face without being interrupted by my hair. These are also very easy to use. They have little buttons here, so you can just put them back of your hair, twist your hair in, and then flip it over and wrap it onto the little button, and they stay for a very long time. They're not going to slip off or move too much. That's all they're going to do for hair right out of the shower. It needs this time to really sit and settle after it's been washed. So once we have our hair up, we can go on to our next step slash routine. Let's go to section 4 and talk about soothing the skin. Soothing the skin is going to be one of the first things that you do immediately after shaving in very sensitive or delicate areas. Personally, I would have to do this on my underarms and my bikini area, my bikini line. The friction that comes with shaving, as well as just making the skin more vulnerable by shaving and removing hair, can definitely leave you really prone to inflammation or irritation. You want to avoid that in any way possible. You want to avoid any bumps, any rashes, any ingrowns, or just any discomfort. So for this, you have two different products that you can use. I actually would use both because I prefer one more in one area than the other. So starting off with aloe, this is a great option. I've actually done this for the longest. I've used aloe on my bikini area and underarms after shaving for quite some time. Now, in putting this on, don't rub it on the area because that's added friction. Just simply pat it. So I would just pour it into my hand, break it down a little bit, and then just pat it onto the area to cover everything. If you did make any cuts in the skin, you will feel a little bit of a sting only because it's an open area, but that would actually help you in time to cool down the area and any inflammation. Another option that you have is witch hazel. I actually have this as the liquid itself, and I recently converted mine into a mist and shared that little trick with you all. I use this daily on general areas, but I do like this after shaving on my underarms. Again, the same thing. If you do have any cuts, you will feel a sting because it's open skin. But witch hazel will help you not only in soothing the area, but also in being like a little light cleanser if there is any imperfections or any leftover bacteria in the area. You can use this also in your sensitive areas. If you are one to have very sensitive, weak, or just reactive skin, you can really use those everywhere. If your arms need the cooling and the relief, if your stomach needs the cooling and the relief, of your legs, any area that you shave that you want to bring some relief to in fear of any irritation or inflammation, definitely apply either of those two onto the areas. Once you have that on, we can move on to our next step and get into the rest of the skin. So let's move on to section 5 and talk about dampening the skin. So to dampen the skin, I have showed everyone this hack for months now. I've been doing this for a very long time. I apply my water into a misting bottle and mist the area that I'm going to moisturize. This is effective for a number of reasons. For one, it's going to prepare your skin to allow for your moisturizers to actually work and penetrate into your skin. Applying any moisturizer, whether it's a lotion, body butter, soothing cream, body serum, body essence, body toner, if you're applying any of those products onto dry skin, it's not going to be receptive. It's just going to stay on the surface and eventually evaporate or rub off. You want to dampen your skin to kind of open up your pores and make them more receptive and more prone to absorbing the products. If you are one that is okay with using this method, you can stay in the shower and do all of this and kind of just never dry your skin off and just do the soothing and the moisturizing while you're in the shower if you prefer that, with the water off, of course. But personally, I don't like feeling entirely wet. Once the shower water turns off, I want to be completely dry. So I will dry my whole skin off, go in with my soothing ingredients, and then follow by dampening my skin to make sure that me applying these moisturizers is actually going to do something for me and they're not just going to sit on the surface. I do this in pieces. I won't mist my body overall. I'll mist like my shoulders and my arms and moisturize my shoulders and my arms, mist my back, do the same, mist my stomach, my leg, and I'll do everything in sections to make sure that the water isn't just sitting there and drying out by the time that I get to it. Now, when talking about moisturizing, we may as well move on to section 6 to start our layering for moisture products. Let's go ahead and talk about the first layer of moisture. So after shaving and bringing that friction to your skin is a bit more vulnerable, it's a bit more open, it's a bit more new and fresh, which is a good thing, but fresh and new skin isn't very built up, it's not very strong. So to build that moisture barrier back up and just completely strengthen your skin barrier, you're gonna have to do the helping hand at first. The best way to do this is to re-moisturize the skin and add skin building ingredients. With every moisturizer that you use after shaving, it would work the same way as chemical exfoliants. You need skin rebuilding ingredients. You can't just use a regular Bath and Body Works lotion. You need a lotion that has actual ingredients that are going to help you. If you do want a little bit of clarity in that, I do have a full episode based on this, and I'll add it as a card. In that video, I went into detail on moisturizing the skin and the ingredients to look for certain forms of moisture and health for the skin. I'm going to show you 4 different options of moisturizers that I have here. Also, another very important thing to keep in mind after shaving is to avoid any possible fragrance. Fragrance can be very irritating to the skin on a regular day-to-day basis, so when your skin is even weaker and that barrier is not really built up, it's going to be even worse and you'll experience an even worse reaction from fragrance. This will lead to not only irritation, bumps, maybe burns or rashes, but this can also lead to that strawberry skin appearance, that dull, dry skin appearance. You want to make sure that you're being very selective with your products and using strategy. One example of a body serum would be Saltaire's hyaluronic acid. This is a good choice if you have very dry skin, very dull skin. You want your skin to be more plump and hydrated. This is a great choice. If you have very tough skin that you need to really have that heavy moisture on, and your skin can be very compromised at times, very reactive, you want a nice heavy body serum. This one by Abi Ahmed is great. This is actually the body serum that I use after my chemical exfoliants to help rebuild my skin and give me as much strength and moisture as possible. If you deal with a number of skin concerns or conditions, you need a lot of health ingredients to really bring life, strength, hydration, and everything into your skin. Pre-Cool's half and half is going to serve you really well. The same would apply with Cyclars, but I did use my full bottle and I think I trashed the bottle, so I don't have it with me, but this or Cyclar would be great for that. They both contain ceramides and peptides, which are great for rebuilding and strengthening the skin. And then of course, glycerin and other hydrating ingredients to add that moisture to your skin. And this will be like an all-around help. If you're needing aid in the complexion, appearance, and tone of your skin, you're gonna wanna use a toner. This is the unscented toner by the brand Knock. These are very thick and hydrating. They're a bit creamier than the previous options. And this will be the best if you're worrying about the appearance, look, and the evenness of your skin. Now let's move on to section 7 to talk about your second layer of moisture. This is going to be like your primary moisturizer. Now once you've applied your first layer of moisture everywhere and it's fully absorbed, meaning you've given it a little bit of time to really sink into the skin and to settle, you're going to follow with your primary moisturizer. I'm going to show you two options. The option that I use every single time I shave, and then a second option that is a bit more gentle if you do have very reactive skin and you don't want such a thick, heavy cream. So my current use and highest recommendation is Naturium's Biolipid Restoring Lotion. This has so many skin rebuilding and skin health ingredients. They're going to be key after shaving to rebuild your moisture barrier, seal your skin, add that hydration to your skin, and really just bring your skin together. This is a great lotion, and it is fairly thick, so it's going to be a really happy medium in between the lotion and a body butter without you having to use the thick and heavy body butters. Now if you're wanting to avoid that thick, heavy lotion and just want a really fast absorbing lotion and a really affordable option, this is the Target brand, like Up and Up Unfragranced Moisturizer. This is the most hydrating and fast absorbing lotion that I've ever used. It's very water-based, very thin. It literally melts into your skin almost instantly. This was my use after shaving before moving on to Naturium's. This always served me really well. Although it doesn't have those skin rebuilding ingredients, you are gonna miss out on that. But if your skin is not well to tolerate that and you just want the hydration to build your moisture barrier back up, this will be a really good option. Now with these, you're also gonna apply them onto every area that you applied your body serum or essence to not only fully coat your skin and be that actual deep moisture, but also to seal in those essences and really trap them together. That layering is going to be key in not only the appearance and the texture of your skin, but also the health of your skin, the vibrancy of your skin, and how strong and built up your skin is to avoid any possible irritation, inflammation, or just further damage. Now once you have that on, it's also fully absorbed and settled into the skin, we can move on to the last layer of moisture, which would be section 8 and is sealing your moisturizers. Now, in the same way that you're very selective with your first layer of moisture, your second layer of moisture, you need to be the same with your oils. And for this, you're also going to want to avoid any fragrance, because even though this is sitting on top of other layers on the skin, it will still sit on your skin. It won't settle into your pores, but it'll still be on your skin. And depending on your skin's tolerance and sensitivity, you can be prone to damage and irritation and inflammation from that. So you want to be really careful and selective. I'm going to show you 3 different options, although one of them is lightly fragranced, so I'm not super recommending this one, but it is good for sensitive skin. I have used it after shaving and didn't experience anything. This would be a good choice if your skin isn't reactive or sensitive at all. But if you do have a compromised skin barrier, you're currently treating your skin is damaged, you're gonna want to avoid this one, but I'm still gonna throw it in there because it's very light compared to the others. This is the only one that I have that's not gonna feel super heavy. That is Aveeno's Oil Mist. I would say this oil is very hydrating. It did last quite a long time, but again, it is fragrant, so if you are sensitive to that, I would avoid this one. Now the oil that I currently do use after shaving personally is Naturium's Glow Getter Oil. This is a great oil. It has those same skin rebuilding and skin health ingredients that you need, and squalene, which is really good for super hydrated and moisturized skin. This also pairs really well with their lotion, of course. Now if you have a really rough skin or textured skin or really dry skin, those 2 oils may not be the best. I think the best option for you if you are dealing with really rough texture to dry skin will be Palmer's Moisture and Soften Oil. This is a great choice and it's very affordable, and it is gonna leave you with that thick layer of moisture while still feeling a little bit thin. I've never felt very heavy after applying this oil. Now with all of these, you're gonna wanna do a very generous layer and apply it onto every single part of your skin where you applied every other moisturizer. and I have shared before so many times, I do apply all these products to my underarms, and I get lots of questions about how I keep my underarms so bright, so healthy, so clear. Keeping your underarms moisturized just as important as the rest of your body. Now, where I would say I do avoid these products is in my feminine area, only because that area is very sensitive and delicate. So around the bikini line, I will apply my unfragranced products, but oils and balms don't go in that area. Now, while talking about that last layer of moisture, oil is for everyone, but I'm going to also include body balms, and these will have two purposes. One of the purposes is how I use them personally. I use this on the harsher, thicker areas of my body, so my elbows, my knees, and then on my shoulders and my back, and I do that to keep the areas super moisturized. Those areas have much thicker skin. I don't hold on to moisture as well as the rest of the body on their own. So if you do want to keep those areas bright, clear, and smooth, you have to add in that helping hand. And I have found that moisture balms give that helping hand. After shaving, you're going to want to use an unfragranced option. So this is Palmer's Heals and Softens body balm. Now, this can also serve well if you have a really rough and dry skin everywhere. You can use this on like your arms or legs after your lotion if you really need that extra moisture. Plus, with these being as thick as they are, they don't absorb very quickly and they last a really long time in the skin. So this will also give you that long lasting moisture. Moisturized skin is healthy skin. Healthy skin is beautiful, clear, strong skin. So just to throw that in there, before applying my oil, I do always apply a moisture balm onto the thicker, harsher areas of my skin. I recommend you do the same, or you can even apply them everywhere. Now, before moving on with the rest of the routine, you do have quite a few things left to do, but these products are definitely not absorbed yet, especially your oil. That's going to take the longest time to absorb into your skin. You don't want to walk around just exposed, because that provides more opportunity for your moisturizers to either evaporate or rub off on other surfaces. So this is the perfect time to put on your robe. I actually am going to show you quite a few of my robe options. So for days that you'll have opportunity to be in your robe for a long time, maybe you took an evening shower and you have the rest of the evening to be in your home, and you can really be a little bit more at leisure with these products absorbing, you can use a really fluffy robe like this. This is my favorite white robe. It's literally like a blanket turned into a robe, but it still has that drying towel material. Then for days where you're needing these products to absorb a little bit quicker, since you're needing to put on clothes, maybe not immediately after, but a little bit after you're done with your routine, you're gonna want a robe that's gonna be much better at absorbing these products quickly. For this, I love towel robes. These are robes that are practically the same texture as a towel, just built into a robe and a little bit thinner, so it's a bit more comfortable. I have a number of different robe textures and qualities, but I would say those two are the best options to put on after this routine. Now let's move on to section 9 and talk about your foot care routine. Now, I've shared quite a bit about foot care, and I've shared a few different routines and products that you can use. I think the routine that I have now is perfectly set for anyone and everyone and is great for daily use. Well, nightly use, because I like doing this routine in the evening. But this is also the same routine that I would do after an everything shower. Not only is it gonna help soften and smoothen your feet over time, but it also is gonna be that long-lasting moisture to where you'll wake up the next morning and your feet will still be just as soft and hydrated. You're gonna go in first with a pumice stone. You can use either a handheld one or one with a handle, and you're gonna work on all the harsh areas of your feet, prioritizing your heels mostly, but of course doing the sides of your feet, the bottom of your feet, maybe underneath your toes, wherever your feet needs that texture renewal and to really smoothen and get off all the dead skin and debris that builds up. Now, before moisturizing, you're gonna treat your feet like the rest of your body, and of course you're gonna dampen the skin before applying your moisturizers. So going in with that same misting bottle with water, you're gonna just dampen your feet entirely. For our layer of moisture, you're gonna go in with the body serum. What I have found to be the best right now in the summertime for my feet is this urea body serum by Naturium. It only has 5% urea, but it also contains amino acids and glycerin, two great ingredients. Glycerin for hydrating and moisturizing the skin to keep it soft and plump, and amino acids to rebuild the skin, especially after you just kind of exfoliate it in a sense with that pumice stone. You're gonna put this onto every single part of your foot, really do a really nice generous coat, and then to seal, you're gonna go in with my favorite favorite product for the heels and sides of your feet, and that is Aquaphor. This is a very thick, heavy occlusive. It's gonna seal in that urea serum, but also give another layer of moisture. Your feet are just like your knees or elbows, really thick, harsh skin that doesn't hold on to moisture, as well as the rest of your body, so it needs that extra helping hand. If you don't want to use Aquaphor, you can even also use that same body balm that was mentioned earlier. This can also serve just as well. Keeping the feet hydrated and moisturized is what's going to give you that really clean, seamless, plump, clear look. And to make sure that this all absorbs just as well as the rest of your body care, you're going to put on socks. In previous times, I wouldn't wear socks because it was a bit uncomfortable with the textures, but honestly, it's worth it. If you just get past that sensation, it is very worth it. Now, once you've done your foot care, your entire body has been treated and attended to, so we can move on to the other parts of our routine, which would be our face and our hair. And we're gonna start off first with section 10 and your facial. Now for your facial, you can definitely do simple facials at home. In the past, I had a really intricate facial routine, which did serve me well. It always left me pretty good results, but in time I realized it just wasn't fully necessary for my skin. There was a lot of steps in it that I didn't personally need, and it was kind of a waste of layering products. So I've simplified my routine quite a bit. I have shared it a few times in my weekly vlogs, but to do a quick overview of that facial, the first and main basis of a facial is to exfoliate. The best way to do that is by dermaplaning. To dermaplane, all you're gonna need is a facial oil to be that buffer, and then of course a dermaplaning razor. The facial oil that I've been using has been this one by Skin 1004, the Centella Light Cleansing Oil. This is a great option, very gentle, great for sensitive skin, and it's gonna give you that nice layer of oil without being too thick, because if you're putting on an oil that's too thick, it doesn't leave much room for the razor to get to your actual skin. Now for a dermaplaning razor, I've tried quite a few, but nothing compares to this one by Flamingo that I have been using. For one, it's weighted, so you don't have to do too much pressure, and you can be much more gentle and controlled with your skin, but it's a actual blade meant for dermaplaning. I feel like lots of people reach for those razors, the same like blade that I use when I shave. A lot of women will reach for that sort of a blade to dermaplane, and it really just kind of cuts your skin a little bit and makes little tears in your skin barrier, which is not great if you're wanting strong, healthy skin. So this razor actually is such a different texture. When you're gliding on the skin, it doesn't even feel like there's anything, it doesn't feel like there's a blade at all. It just feels like a piece of metal, and it still does a great job of removing all the dead skin, any hair, any peach fuzz, any bacteria or debris just sitting on the skin. After dermaplaning, you can go ahead and rinse everything off of your face just to again have a clean base, get all that bacteria that you just dermaplaned off of the skin. And you're gonna wanna follow by cleansing your skin. For this, you can use whatever cleanser works best for your skin on a day-to-day basis. A nice, gentle, thorough cleanser would be best. For me, I always recommend Youth to the People Superfood Cleanser. I love this for daily use. I also use this after dermaplaning. It's a great hydrating cleanser that again is going to be very thorough but still gentle on the skin. Now the same way that you just dermaplaned, you added the same sort of friction on the skin that you would when you shave your body. So you're gonna have the same priorities afterwards: rebuilding the skin, hydrating the skin, and getting that moisture and the skin barrier built back up. So the first thing you're gonna want to go in with is a soothing cream, something to lessen any possible irritation or inflammation on the skin and make sure that your skin stays very neutral and calm. I'm currently using the soothing cream by again Skin 1004. That is a very thick cream, so once it's on, you're gonna need to give it some time to really settle and sink and absorb into the skin. But once it does, you're gonna want to have a skin rebuilding moisturizer. Of course, you can pick anything in your skin routine that does a good job of moisturizing and hydrating your skin, but again, make sure that it's something that has skin rebuilding ingredients but no actives, no exfoliants. So don't use anything with like retinol or vitamin C or glycolic acid. Don't use anything with salicylic acid, niacinamide. You want something that's more for rebuilding. If your skin isn't super reactive and it can handle a very light amount of any of those, for example, the one that I use has a light amount of vitamin C, but my skin tolerates this very well after the soothing cream. I use Naturium's multi-peptide moisturizer, but again, whatever works best for you. Now, if I may add, you're treating your facial skin in the same manner as your body skin. So before applying both those moisturizers, you're gonna wanna mist the skin with water to again open the pores and make the skin more receptive to actually absorbing these so that they can penetrate into your pores and not just stay on the surface of your skin. That water will also help break down the moisturizer as you're kind of working it into the skin to where it's not being super thick and heavy going into the pores. It's more broken down, it's a little bit emulsified. Now from here, if you want to, you can add on a face mask. I did do that in my previous facial. Lately with these facials, I haven't been putting a face mask on after, but that's completely up to your preference if you're wanting to do that. Once you have your facial done, now the skin on your entire body has been attended to, your actual body, your feet, your face. So now it's time to give the rest of our attention to our hair. We're gonna start off with section 11 and adding products to our hair. Now in adding products to your hair, I can show you what I use, but this is something that's completely up to your personal products, your personal routine, whatever works for you. At this point, your hair should still be in that towel, so you can take it out of the towel. Now, I like to kind of scrunch a little bit, make sure I get any excess water that's left in the hair, and just make sure it's not soaking wet, just a little bit damp. Choosing your products will be dependent on your hair type and what you're wanting to do with your hair. So for example, I have curly wavy hair. There may be times where I want to straighten my hair after, or there may be times where I want to have my hair curled for the week, or I may choose to not want to have straight hair that week and just let my hair be itself. So for those days, I will just apply hydrating and moisturizing products. On days that I'm wanting to have a curly hairstyle, I'll apply curling products. So here's where you apply any leave-in products, any moisture products, any curling products, and if you are going to straighten your hair, any heat protectants, as well as any hair serums. If you don't have any hair oils, that would be done in the next step. So for example, on days where I'm not going to style my hair and just let it be, I will go in with this Redken 25-in-1. I actually use this either or because it has a little bit of everything. So let's say in the next day I decide I do want to straighten my hair, I'll already have this on, which has a few ingredients that are helpful for straightening my hair. If I'm wanting to style my hair curly that day and have it out styled a little bit, I'll go in with this Curl Smoothie by Mielle. If I'm wanting to just braid my hair back and have it just set, not really styling it, just prioritizing its health, I'll use this Strengthen and Restore Leave-In Conditioner by Shea Moisture. I honestly really like how this smells. This smells very good. With either of those routines, my oil for that would be this Coconut Milk Anti-Breakage Serum from CoSRX. I've used this for quite some time. I love how thick and nourishing this is, and I love the fragrance that it leaves in my hair. For days that I am gonna straighten it, I will apply that same Redken 25-in-1, and then any heat protectant. The one that I'm currently experimenting with is the e.l.f. Humidity Hero. I have actually used the Color Wow as well, and I did love that one a lot, so I'm giving some time to experiment with this one. Regardless of either routine, I'm gonna use this CoSRX Peptide Serum. I've been loving this for really rebuilding and strengthening the hair. And then another oil that I have for more styling the hair is also e.l.f.'s new oil. I haven't used the product this is supposed to be like a variation of, but I am kind of still experimenting with this one. Now, once you've added your products in, we can move on to section 12 and talk about setting or styling the hair. Now, styling and setting the hair also goes hand in hand with what I mentioned earlier, where you choose what you want to do. On days that I'm going to straighten my hair, I'll go in first with a blow dryer and then a blow dryer brush and then an actual hair straightener to get the strands straight. On days that I'm wanting to curl my hair, I'll apply my curling products, use my diffuser, and then just let it kind of be. On days that I'm not styling my hair and I'm just more focused on keeping it healthy and clean, I will just comb it all back and do a braid. After braiding, I like to apply these silk scarves. I have a few of these, and I like to just kind of do a wrap in which all the hair is contained inside of the scarf, and then I kind of tuck the strands into the wrap itself, just out of my way. But this kind of silk material is going to be what you're looking for. Literally scarves that are like slipping while you're trying to put them on, that it takes you like 15 minutes to put it on because it keeps slipping. Those are the scarves that are going to serve your hair the best. Even if you are straightening your hair, you can also do the same. This will be the time where you take to really play with your hair. You can put on rollers, you can put on the curling rods, you can do heatless curls, whatever you're wanting to do in your hair. This will be the perfect time to do it, because not only is your hair dry, fresh, and clean, but it's had time to sit in the towel to where it's soaked all the moisture that it needs to. And if you're using a proper microfiber towel, you will be less prone to any friction, so you almost always will have a pretty good hair day. But we can't really control bad hair days, so of course take that with a grain of salt. Now once you're done with that, we can move on to our final step and our final section for this segment, which will be section 13, and adding deodorant and fragrance. Now we're gonna start off first with the topic of deodorant. The reason why you're doing this so much later into the routine is because in applying your moisturizers, you should have been applying those lotions and creams to your underarms as well. If you did do so and you're wanting your deodorant to be effective, you need to allow those to fully absorb before applying your moisturizer, so that you're not just piling deodorant on top. For this, you can choose whatever deodorant works best for you. I'm gonna show you my two options. If I'm doing this shower in the daytime to where I still have lots of time left in the day to either go out and do something or just be around, I will wear my actual antiperspirant, which is Degree Black and White. I always argue this is the best deodorant on the market for a multitude of reasons, especially considering that you will smell fresh and clean without smelling like deodorant. Now for the evening use, which is almost always when I do my everything showers, I rarely do them early in the day. I always do them later in the afternoon or in the evening. I will use my liquid deodorant. I currently am using House of Balance herbal deodorant. And even in the daytime, I would still recommend a liquid one, only because you did just shave. You don't want to really clog your skin too much with a really thick deodorant. Liquid deodorants may serve you best. And of course, you want to avoid any fragrance as well, because this is freshly shaved skin. Now once you have your deodorant on, fragrance is very optional. Personally, after shaving, again because I do so in the evening, I don't apply any fragrance. I can go one day without perfume or body mist, especially if it's for the betterment of my skin. I would say the skin is a little bit too delicate and sensitive to really deal with that, and you're really wanting to moisturize and hydrate the skin. So adding a product like perfume or body mist that's based in alcohol is not going to be ideal. But if again you are doing something after and it is the daytime and your skin can tolerate it and can handle it, you can apply your fragrance. I always recommend applying a balm underneath your fragrance. You can use something unfragranced like this one by Aquaphor and apply onto your pulse points, meaning behind your ear, this area, onto your shoulders if you're a lady. You can do your chest, your inner elbow, your wrist, behind your knees, your ankles. You're gonna apply this onto all those areas and then apply your mist above. If you want a thicker option, you're gonna be sweating a little bit or just want it to last longer, you can even use a body balm. You can use an unfragranced one, or you can even use a fragranced one to add like a second layer of fragrance underneath your actual fragrance. For example, I have the Palmer's Peach Vanilla, so I can add that to my pulse points and then layer it with like another warm vanilla or like a fresh mist or perfume on top to really amplify the fragrance, kind of a scent layer a little bit. But again, that is completely optional and dependent on your skin's tolerance and sensitivity, and if you really desire that after an everything shower. And with that, you've attended to every possible area on the body and the skin and done all the recovery, moisturizing, and work to the skin and body as needed for your best hygiene and appearance. That also closes off segment 2. So let's move on to segment 3, which contains section 14, minor habits with major effects. And I do always love to end these videos with a bonus section with a few little tips to leave you with. For this, I wrote 5. These I've either already mentioned and are just reiterations or just small reminders that I want to leave you with. And I'm going to read them off how I wrote them. For number 1, we have absolutely no fragrance and no chemical exfoliants. This is especially important considering that in your everything shower you did shave. Applying any chemical exfoliants like glycolic acid or salicylic acid onto the skin after shaving is going to be horrible for your skin. It is way too weak to absorb that and even handle it, to where you are going to experience stinging, redness, and just such irritation. And that irritation can later cause so much damage to your skin, whether it's internal or physical and apparent. Next, always dampen your skin before moisturizing. I can't stress this enough. Your moisturizers will not penetrate and absorb into your skin if you're applying them onto dry skin. Your skin is not open nor receptive, and it'll generally be a waste of your time. Next, prioritize rebuilding and strengthening the skin. Again, after shaving, exfoliating, and doing all the work that you did in the shower. For your skin to be at its best after, you need to now rebuild it. Considering that you did just bring about fresh, new, active skin, you're gonna wanna make sure that you treat it and handle it with care to avoid any damage and to rebuild what may be a compromised skin and moisture barrier. Next, switch on your dermaplaning razors every 2 to 3 uses. These apply the same as a body razor or a multi-blade razor. Even if it's not visible, there's so much bacteria that builds up that we can't see, that being all the dead skin, debris, oil, and just gunk that your skin can hold on to, especially your face, and that area is so much more than your body. So if you're switching out your body razors after 2 uses, you should be doing the same with your facial razors and dermaplaning razors. And lastly, allow for your moisturizers to sit before applying deodorant. As I mentioned earlier, if you want your deodorants to be effective and not just pile onto the moisturizers, you need to allow for them time to really absorb the moisturizers that you applied to rebuild the skin and strengthen the skin, and then follow with your deodorant for keeping the area neutral, fresh, and clean. And that's everything for this section and the segment and all of the sections to break down this video. And that is the end of this video and all the sections that I have to go over. This also does complete the 2-part series pertaining to a summer everything shower routine. We just went through everything regarding your after shower routine. And again, part 1, which is episode 9 of Hot Girl Hygiene, it breaks down your in shower routine. I definitely feel like every single step in this routine is critical and so beneficial for your body, for your hygiene, for your appearance, and just for making you feel your best. I would argue that this routine is something that you should be doing weekly, if not every other week, just to stay on top of the health and appearance of your skin. But again, that is everything for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video or gain something from it, definitely go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos similar to this, also go ahead and subscribe to join the community. I just post a new episode of Hot Girl Hygiene every week on Thursdays at 6 p.m, as well as a weekly vlog every Sunday and a curated vlog every Friday. While you are waiting for uploads on YouTube, I do post on my short form platforms every single day, and I am Zonia on every platform. So if you are interested in seeing all of the content that I share, definitely go ahead and join all those communities. I also do have my direct messaging open on every platform. So if you don't want to talk to me about anything or need any advice or anything that you want to discuss in private, definitely go ahead and use those. I also do have a board open on TikTok as well as a private group chat where I share updates and allow you all to be a little bit more influential on the content that I create and share. If you haven't watched previous episodes to this series, I would definitely recommend doing so. There's definitely value to be gained from every single part, and I have created so many of those episodes based on recommendations and requests from you all. If you don't have any requests for an episode or something that you want to see, definitely comment it down below or let me know of it, and I will try my best to create it. I also did just post a new hygiene shopping vlog in which I got so many great products, so definitely go ahead and check that out if you're interested. And with this being episode 10 of Hot Girl Hygiene, there are still 8 episodes left, so definitely stay tuned for the rest of the series. But if you haven't made it this far, again, thank you so much for watching this video. I definitely hope to see you in the next one, and stay tuned for Hot Girl Hygiene episode 11. Bye!